Many people consider the Crimean War and the US Civil War to be the first wars with photographs of combat. The photographs you tend to see are of men sitting around camp or of after a battle with cannonballs laying on the ground. These are in fact not actual combat photographs, just photographs of the battle zone after the battle. James Peters was born on September 11th, 1853. He entered into military life in 1870 during the Fenian raids as a bugler boy. By 1872, he was already a lieutenant. By 1885, he was garrisoned in Montreal and was captain of A Battery, Regiment of Canadian Artillery. In the spring of 1885, rebellion sparked in the Northwest and he was called up to arms. He brought with him his Marion Academy twins lens camera. This camera was different from the majority of the time period since it had no bipod. This camera was able to be set up within seconds and take a photograph. A Battery would later see action in two battles, the Battle of Fish Creek and the Siege of Batoche. Throughout the campaign, Captain James Peters would take photographs of men around camp, important objectives, and as well as combat photographs, the first to be ever taken. Captain James Peters also worked as a war correspondent for the Quebec Morning Chronicle. Here they published, "While bullets hissed and spluttered around and overhead, and while men falling wounded or struck dead, this photographic hero, with extraordinary nerve, coolly focused capped, inserted the dark slide, drew out the shutter, uncapped, capped, pushed the shutter, and put up the camera. When one thus animates the many and delicate operations required in taking of a photograph, Captain Peters' exploits appears a little short of the marvelous." After the militia had defeated the rebels at Batoche, they moved on to the hunt for Big Bear, a native chief. He later had surrendered in the same year. James Peters, who later became colonel, ended up destroying the majority of his original photographs he had taken since copies of them had been made. James Peters would later pass away in May of 1925 and is buried in the Veterans Cemetery in Esquimalt, British Columbia.